was that was quite the week, wasn't it? A lot of stuff happened, and nothing happened, but also a lot, as is always seems to be the case these days. So people were asking for a stream. So let's just see where it goes, and then maybe later we'll do a Red Alert 3 Uprising stream or something like that. I've been wanting to get to that, but this probably comes first. So I didn't really have a show prepared just because I've actually had to do work at work. Um, and yeah, so I didn't really have time for that. So let's see here. We have a lot of stuff going on this week. So I looked a little bit at Twitter. Like I said, I actually had to do work at work today, so I couldn't look at it too much. I haven't really gotten a good feel for how people feel about the whole interview. So I was watching the Duran as I normally do. So they thought it was like a really, really well done, and I knew that they would. So their logic was that this was not for like people like them or me or probably even some of the people who watch this channel who have been following this stuff. And I know because I was looking at it, and Charlemagne was saying that he'd never heard about the reason Russia withdrew from Kiev being it was part of the peace negotiations. And I'd heard about that a long time ago, so it made me think, maybe just a lot of this stuff is a lot more engaging and exciting to someone who's not following it as closely. Like, I'd imagine like one of those big compilation videos, like where they go through the entire lore of Five Nights at Freddy's or Berserk or something, would probably be less interesting for someone who's kind of been following that since the beginning. So there's that. Um, Before we get further, I have a confession to make because I try to be real with you guys. I'm often kind of unsure how to cover this conflict because I don't. I admit being called a Russia shill does sometimes affect me because I don't want to come across as someone who's like I don't know if unfair is the term, but someone who ignores reality because they're like a bot. So I don't know if people are get what I mean by that at all, but um, like I don't want to be someone who just is like, oh boy, Russia good, Russia great. I'm just gonna jump on board everything because there are a lot of people in that sphere who just hate America and will just support anything that shits on America. And I really don't want to be in that category. And I feel something that I bring that maybe some other people don't bring is that I will like from time to time take positions counter to like strict ideology. Like I would like in the DSP videos when I used to do those, I would often like side with him or I'd be somewhat sympathetic to him, and I would like shit on some of the people who were trolling him as being like sociopaths. So so I admit, and I sometimes have a tendency to try to come up with something to say in the other direction. Uh, Also, I just really don't want to give the impression that I'm a third worldist. And there's a video I was going to make, and I might make it separately, but there's a couple things I'm just probably going to put in the stream, and maybe I'll cut them later. So, how I feel about America is like this. And I was thinking about this the other day as I was walking to work. You have an older brother. He's this big, strong, good looking guy, really smart, and he's a Chad. And he's a bit of a dick. He's arrogant and he shoots his mouth off. But ultimately, he has a big heart. And you know that your bro, even if he can be a bit of a dick, is going to be there for you. If you get in trouble, he's going to bail you out of jail. If someone's screwing with you, he's going to deal with it. And he's very successful in his job, and everybody looks up to him. And you watch this guy, your brother, the guy you look up to, the guy who kind of is what you want to be, slowly get addicted to alcohol, to gambling, to drugs, and you live with him, and you see that your older brother go out every night, get roaring drunk, and just gamble money he doesn't have, and every night he comes home and he's thousands of dollars more in debt, and you can tell it's like he's getting liver spots and he's doing all these drugs and stuff, and you just see that like the complete self-destruction of this person who you looked up to and who you had a lot of genuine affection for. And I think that's kind of how I feel about the United States, where it's just U.S. in many ways embodied the greatest of what made Western man. They reached the moon. They made the first thing to leave the solar system. They invented antibiotics and all kinds of other fast the light bulb, a lot of advances in computers, the internet, a lot of humanity's greatest technological achievements and cultural for that matter. They created the modern movie industry, for good or bad, came from America, and there is something very Promethean about it, like the idea of we're going to go to the end of the world, we're going to make something of ourselves, and we're going to build this new society, and the society is going to be mostly English, Anglo, and German, but also with just aspects of all the different indigenous European peoples. And I do think it was a thing of beauty, and it was something that I look up to. And a lot of Americans, and a lot of you, probably most of you who watch my channel, are great people. And it's so sad to just see like Joe Brandon. And it's like it's just hard, and it is cringe because I saw the other day when King Charles, God bless him, announced he had cancer. All these people, and this happened when Elizabeth died. All these Americans were like, "Oh well, we got rid of the monarchy. We aren't ruled by Queen Elizabeth or King Charles." And like, yeah, you're ruled by fucking Joe Brandon. Like, how is that a flex? The flex is that like Elizabeth II, that nice old lady who everybody liked, she's not the ruler of your country. Joe Brandon is the big guy, the guy who gave birth to Hunter Biden. That is like who you're gonna hold up as your like why you're better than the UK, and why your societies. I just had to bring that up. I know that's not exactly related, but it always gets on my nerves whenever that comes up. It's like, dude, you have Joe Biden as the head of your country. Like, so I don't know. Hopefully people found that interesting, but I just kind of wanted to put that out there as to how I feel about the US. Because a lot of like some of the pro Russia people are like really anti-white, or they talk about colonialism and stuff like that, and it's kind of insufferable, and I really don't want to get lumped in with those people. I don't want to give them the impression that I'm like a Chomsky guy or like my UN, International Court of Justice and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I feel about the U.S. and I guess just kind of most of the West in general. It's just sad, and I shit on them. It's like what is the expression from 1984? Hate is love, or love is hate. And like the reason I get so angry is because I care. Like you don't care if it's like go back to the example. It's sad if you see someone else's older brother become a drug addict. It doesn't generate the level of resentment and bitterness and just upset that your brother doing that does. Now, I don't have a brother, but I think you get my idea. You could substitute it with your father, with any role model in your life, someone you look up to. So, There's that. Now, before we get on, there's a skit I'd like to do. I had recorded and uploaded it earlier today. Sometimes I have to record things on my phone because I'm not at home and I'm not at my computer with my mic. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I just feel like I have to record it because I'm on a roll and I have the idea in my head. So I'm just gonna do the skit live. So just give me a sec. Let me just take a sip of my sparkling water cream soda flavor. By the way, I'm taking suggestions for my character. Um, it needs the name. I mean, it needs to the initials have to be NPC. So, guys, I watched the entirety of the Tucker Carlson Putin interview. CNN and the mainstream media, they haven't like clipped it and edited the clips together, so I don't know really what we're supposed to think about it yet. But I think I can safely say, and I went into this knowing that this was going to be the case, that Putin basically admitted that he just invaded Ukraine on a whim. That there was a time back in like 2022, he was looking out the window and he said, look, Russia's a big country. I want more territory so I can be the dictator of more territory. And so Putin just decided to invade Ukraine. And like, there was no provocation, there was no lead up, there was nothing. He just decided to do it. That was the first takeaway I had. And I went into this expecting that the whole interview was just going to be Tucker fawning over Putin and saying how he was the greatest man in the world and how Putin was awesome and all that kind of stuff. And that's really like what I got out of it is he didn't like ask Putin about why he was Hitler reborn. He didn't ask him about the genocide of the Ukrainians. He didn't ask him about like the attack that he carried out on Israel on October 6th on his birthday. He didn't ask him about any of that. So I think Tucker is part of that. And just rambling on, like, dude, we're the TikTok generation. If you can't say what you have to say in like 5 seconds, then why even say it at all? Because it's like I somebody's gonna try and cut clips of that and put it on like a TikTok video. That's where I get my news. That's where I get my geopolitical analysis. And it's just like dates and names and context and stuff like that. Like I was just going through it, it goes like he's talking about the Commonwealth. I'm like, is the Commonwealth like the sister store to Banana Republic? That is the theory that I came up with. That there's a store maybe in Russia called Commonwealth, and that is the equivalent of the Banana Republic. So there was that, and I think he was talking about that. Then he was talking about Lithuania, and I think there was a character in the show The Kids from Room 402 who is Lithuanian. So I got that reference. That was a sick reference. I didn't realize that he watched Teletoon. Um, and he just talked about all this other stuff, and it's like I don't recall hearing any of this from my diversity and inclusion coordinator. Um, like he didn't talk about how like the Ukrainians are an African people who migrated from what is today Mozambique and settled there before being enslaved by the Russians, who come from where Germany is now. They didn't talk about that. They didn't talk about how the Ukrainian language is part of the Bantu family and it's not part of the Eastern Slavic. They didn't talk about the achievements that Aboriginals have helped and how they were the ones who built the cultural bedrock that is modern day Russia. I didn't hear any of that. I just heard him talking a lot about like dead white dudes, and it's like, dude, it's 2024. Why are we talking about things that happened in the past? Like back then, gay marriage wasn't even like legal. So why should we take anything that happened during this era seriously. Like they didn't allow people to transition. The Roman Senate, like so, and this is how history works because a lot of people don't understand this. Before 500 BCE, because it's not BC, you Christians. Before 500 BCE, gay marriage was legal. The Roman Senate passed a bill banning it, and it remained banned until the Supreme Court overturned it in that year. So he's talking about this era wherein these things happened, but people were slaves. So I couldn't really like get what he was talking about, like why this was even going on. I don't know. I think though, like I said, my takeaway is there's no like motivation here. He's just evil. And he's stupid. He's stupid. He's ignorant. He didn't talk about any of the stuff by diversity inclusion consultant said. He's also way dumber than Joe Biden. Joe Biden can barely get one sentence out. That's because he is a man who is so succinct and so eloquent that he doesn't need to say more than like 5 words at a time and stumble through those. He doesn't need to be able to sit down and without notes give like a 1,000 year historical lecture including dates and names and places and stuff like that and keep it straight. Because he can say stuff like El Sisi, the president of Mexico that borders Gaza, or that he met people who were dead. You see, part of what Dark Brandon actually is he can see into the matrix. He sees all times at once. He's like he can see Helmut Kohl's talking to him. He doesn't know when his son died because Joe Brandon is transcendent. And he can see things that the rest of us could only dream of. So that is my takeaway. Okay, there we go. That was the sketch. I didn't really want to re-record it and upload a new video, so I just figured I'd do it here. So, back to the battlefront for a minute. Let's see, where is Avdiivka? Avdiivka. There's Bakhmut. Yeah, the Russians are advancing at Bakhmut. I'm just trying to find where Avdiivka is. Yeah, so Russia's making pretty consistent progress here. My understanding is that the routes in are now under Russian fire control. Um, and they are able to shell any attempt for Ukraine to bring stuff in and out. We don't really know how much longer Avdiivka is going to last before it collapses. Um, I've seen estimates all over the place. I've seen estimates anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks. Most people seem to think that they'll probably try to end it before Russia's presidential election, as this and Bakhmut might very well be the big battles of the war. Now, how many Ukrainians are left trapped within Avdiivka? We aren't really sure. It could be, I've seen any estimates between 2,000 and 10,000, and it depends when they decide to pull out or if they're going to keep throwing men in. My understanding is I don't think Zelensky wanted to hold out. I think he wanted to attempt to retreat, but that was not permitted, and now he's gone. And his successor, I think, is known for his tendency to have these suicidal attacks. Yeah, Sersky, who's known as a butcher and is widely despised by the Ukrainian armed forces, is now in charge. No, so Putin removed term limits so he can serve another term, but he has to win re-election. I mean, he's going to win re-election. Like Russia doesn't have ethics in video game journalism. Although to be honest, like I've said, even assuming that Russia like had the most like clean elections possible, is there really any doubt that Putin would win elections in Russia? Like, once again, I asked this question many times. What's more likely? Um, if you were to have a referendum today, would more Americans want Joe Brandon to stay on as their president, or would more Russians want Putin to stay on as their president? Let's just think about it for a second. I don't think there's really any like honest person who could say, yeah, we want Barabbas, we want Brandon, um, as it were. So, so let's see. There's still quite a bit of Donetsk left they haven't taken. Is Donetsk like the biggest oblast in Ukraine or something? Just because it seems to be taking them a very long time to get through it. It's still kind of going on. There's still quite a bit of territory left. I do kind of wonder. I do kind of wonder what'll happen once FDF collapses. Now, I've been seeing some reports about it. The Russians are apparently firing dozens, if not hundreds, of bombs on it. They've just gone full balls to the wall. Ukraine basically doesn't have an air defense system anymore, so the Russian Air Force is just basically firing at will, and there's nothing really stopping them from just doing whatever they want. Um, so, well, as I've said, it would be interesting to me to see whether the UK or Russia arrests more people for political crimes. I would honestly not be surprised if the UK arrests is stricter with arresting people for saying like stuff that the regime doesn't like than Russia is. Obviously, the UK isn't as bad as some place like North Korea or Venezuela, but I would not be surprised if speech was relatively freer in the UK. Sorry, in Russia than in the UK. Let's see. So the interview, I think. Okay, so my thinking for a while is the territorial gains. Russia's territorial goals will be everything east of the Dnieper plus Odessa. So I think what it'll probably be is that. Now the status of Kiev, I'm not really sure. Um, where that will be when this war is over, if that'll belong to a Ukrainian rump state, if that'll be reincorporated into Russia, um, or what. Like I think in Russia they don't like card people for buying a broom handle. The UK is the most G slur country on earth. I've come to that conclusion. I've come to that conclusion. So, um, here's how I describe the West. The UK is the most G slur country in a dom position. Canada is the most G slur country in a sub position. So they're both about equal, but the UK is like a dominatrix in the way it carries things out. And a lot of other countries are like Canada are just kind of bitches, which I mean, I'm happy. Let's see here. So yeah, that's going on. So I don't know. Like I haven't really had time to even catch up with all the Joe Biden stuff. Like it's insane all the stuff that's going on there. Like how many gaffes was there in like a 48-hour period? There was the Green State one. There was the Green State one. There's the Mexico borders Gaza one. I can the thing that scared me is I could kind of see the thought process on that one when I was looking at it cuz I'm like, "Oh, well, he's thinking about the border and Mexico is like a border crisis and there's like a border thing that's going on in Gaza." So like the neurons in his head flipped up the two countries that had border related issues that were going on. I think the best one is like how they determined that Putin, no, sorry, not Putin, that Biden was not like responsible for his criminal activities because he's like not mentally competent to stand trial. And I remember like the minute after that came out. Oh yeah, no, you haven't seen this? Okay, let's see here. Let me find this clip. Okay, here we
The
go.
conduct of
Second.
I'm of the view, as you know, that the conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. I think that, as you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side. I've been pushing really hard to get humanitarian assistance into Gaza. There are a lot of innocent people who are starving, a lot of innocent people who are in trouble and dying, and it's got to stop.
Uh Wait a minute, is this let's see. Do they have the whole thing up?
I've seen the headlines since the
let's
report
watch
was
this.
released about my willful retention of documents.
I mean, look at this man. This man looks like the picture of health. Don't you want to trust this dude to run your country? He looks like a fucking AI, something or other. I don't know. It's kind of creeping me out. That background looks artificial. But just a side note, like I didn't go into this just because it's so obvious that I just felt it was almost sycophantic. Putin went on for 20 minutes going through 1,000 years of history, including dates, without notes. Easily. He could do that. And this dude can't like go for 5 seconds. He can't get a single sentence out. Like that's got to be embarrassing. And I say that as somebody who has Justo as my leader. So I know, guys. I know we have that. You know what? We'll get to that in a second. We're gonna watch the cringy Justo clip first.
Before this prime minister, we didn't have masses of military members living in tent cities, Mr. Speaker. They could put a roof overhead. The good news is life was not like this before this prime minister, and it won't be like this after he's gone.
Why doesn't he just say it straight out, Mr. Speaker? He's planning to make Canada great again. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, Canada is great. Canada is the best country in the world. And yes, there are challenges, and that's why we're stepping up to invest, whether it's $445 million for military housing, whether it's stepping up with dental care for vulnerable seniors or youth.
So that's what the prime minister has to say to the 2 million people.
I think I was just trying to find the exact clip. He wants to make Canada great again, and that's not what the Canadian people want.
Mr. Speaker, he's planning to make Canada great again. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, Canada is, and that's why we're stepping $1 million for military housing, whether youth.
So that's what the prime millions clamor. The things are great. I've seen there after his 8 years.
Yeah. I don't think that's for the. There's a clip where he says that the Canadian people don't want that. There we go. There we go. That's it. Canada says Canadians don't want to be great again. Let's see if they find it.
What we hear from the leader of the opposition is under the previous Conservative government, everything was perfect. And what he's proposing to do is to make Canada great again. That is not what Canadians want. What he is proposing to do is to make Canada great again. That is not what Canadians want.
Yeah, that's some justa there.
These assertions are not only misleading, they're just plain wrong. On page 215, if you had a chance, I know it's a thick document. On page 215, the report of the special counsel found the exact opposite. Here's what he wrote. There is, in fact, a shortage of evidence that I willfully retained classified materials related to Afghanistan. On page 12, the special counsel also wrote for another documents.
Related to Afghanistan.
The decision to decline criminal charges was straightforward. The evidence suggests that Mr. Biden did not willfully retain these documents. The evidence said I did not willfully retain these documents. In addition, I know there's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. Let me tell you something. Some of you have commented, I wear since the day he died, every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of... Every Memorial Day we hold a service remembering him.
What was that? Like what is, like, he's just like that he got from Our Lady of... Let's go that again. That was some keto shit.
Every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of... Every Memorial Day we hold a service remembering him, attended by friends and family and the people who loved him. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away or passed away. Simple truth is I sat for a 5-hour interview over 2 days of events going back 40 years. At the same time I was managing an international crisis, their task was to make a decision about whether to move forward with charges in this case. That's their decision to make. That's the council's decision to make. That's his job. And they decided not to move forward. For any extraneous commentary, they don't know what they're talking about.
Dude, I can't even follow this. This is like 3 minutes.
It has no place in this report. The bottom line is the matter is now closed. I'm going to continue what I've always focused on, my job of being President of the United States of America.
President Biden, something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
It's Jover. It's Jover. You have a journalist actually doing his job for once.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president, and I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's
How
totally
bad
out.
is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad, I let you speak. That's
your
what.
memory has gone.
Even mean? My memory's so bad, I let you...
Worse, Mr. President.
My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen?
What did you pass?
You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on.
Mr. President, for months
That was, Joe, that was not a good way to prove
when
it.
you were asked about your age, you would respond with the words, watch me. Many American people have been watching and they have expressed concerns about your age.
That is your judgment. That is your judgment. That is not the judgment of the press.
They expressed concerns.
So this is some snake eating tier stuff that we're going on. So a lot of people are thinking, okay, they've realized how bad Biden is, now we're just going to pretend that we never said any of this stuff. Like, you know how we said all that stuff about like Biden isn't senile, like you're the mentally ill one if you think that Biden is has like cognitive decline. We're going to pretend that we never said any of this stuff. And yeah, we're going to pretend that we never said any of that, that he's like, he's lost it. So let's see, what's this?
This was a side of Joe Biden. The report's comments questioning government documents had been clumsy, stored in a box in the garage in his home in Delaware alongside a broken lamp, but not criminal. It was good news.
He is not mentally competent.
And yet the assertion that interviews with Biden had revealed significant limitations in his memory.
So yeah, so like Biden just, remember when, like, does anyone remember, like, because I sometimes wonder if I'm just like hallucinating things. Didn't Trump literally get charged with this exact same thing like 3 months ago? Where they're like, oh, he had documents in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago or whatever. And this asshole has documents in his garage.
Was the political dynamite.
And dude, clean your garage up for fuck's sake. Like you think the 10% for the big guy they can afford to like hire.
Significant limitations in his memory was the political dynamite his critics had been waiting for. Back at the hastily erected unaccused age of
damaging things that can happen in politics are things that reinforce a meme that's out there that is hurting you. And the central meme that is hurting the president is this issue of age.
Is it a meme though? Like I don't think that that's a meme. I think it's just like a fact.
Only this week, Biden mixed up European country names and presidents.
And Mitterrand from France looked at me and said,
He even appeared to forget.
Mitterrand, I think, when did he die? Was it 1996? Oh yeah, Francois Mitterrand. Yes, I was correct. He died in 1996. Biden met him last week, though.
Get the word Hamas.
There's been a response from the opposition. Yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas.
The painful reality for Biden is that Donald Trump, his rival at 77, is also prone to gaffes, like this one when he recently claimed he offered aid to the Republican Nikki Haley on January the 6th, when he meant the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
It's like soldier
Issues.
because war in problems with
Feels after last night that
70% of Americans.
I think he got Rapid Falls and Rapid City mixed up or something like that. It's like their attempt to like make an equivalent. Like, don't get me wrong, Trump has cognitive decline too. I've never denied that. But like, what is it with every like old American Republican looking like a turtle? Like, what is that? But people like to say that like Trump has like, okay, so sorry, I'm chewing words. I'm tired today. Okay, guys. I have never made fun of people for making mistakes when they're talking, because I do it all the time. Like, you accidentally put a wrong word in there. Like, you can, and like an example of this actually is Tucker, in his introduction to Putin's interview, said Putin truly believes that Russia has claims on Western Ukraine. Now, he clearly meant to say Eastern Ukraine, but the word got mixed up in his head. Serp's done this a number of times. I do it too, like where you say North Korea instead of South Korea or something like that. And you can see where like the person's wires just got crossed or they were like spacing out for a minute. This happens all the time, and like the worst you should do is just maybe just give it a bit of a chuckle. There's a difference between occasionally just making like one of those like misstatements or something, going, oh no, right, sorry, I don't know what I was saying, or where it's very clear what the person was trying to say and they just dropped a word or they used the wrong word. And like this, where the dude can't even get a sentence out. And it's not even like everybody has bad days. Maybe he didn't sleep well. Maybe the food's not sitting well with him, but it's literally every day. And it's like weird stuff too. See, where's the Biden Indian accent one?
Hey, how are you, man? Well, good to see you. As you know, I got a lot of support from this Indian.
That's where, and more to come, I think.
Yeah,
so.
No, I've had a great relationship.
Right.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking. Oh, gigantic.
Why can't we get that Biden? Why can't we get Biden just saying shit like that? Like, why can't we have this man?
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke. There's a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools. He was the mechanic. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. Corn Pop was a bad...
It was the chill of Corn Pop. Let me see. Did someone put the stand up? Okay, here we go.
And I also am told that Chuck Graham, state senator, is here. Chuck, stand up, Chuck. Let him see you. Oh, God love you. What am I talking about? I tell you what, you're making everybody else stand up, though, pal. Thank you very, very much. I tell you what, stand up for Chuck.
The guy was paraplegic, which... It's rough, man. It's rough. So it's some Biden stuff. No, that. Saudi TV.
Thank you very much. Today, we're going to talk about the crisis in Spain. Yeah, we're going to talk about the crisis in Africa. Yeah, Russia. Yeah, Russia.
Yeah, that's weird. So, yeah, it was some of the stuff that, it's been going on. So, I'm gonna ask the chat.
I've seen the headlines.
Are they throwing Biden under the bus? Are they getting ready to like physically remove him and replace him with, I don't know, somebody else, like Kamala or Michelle or I don't know. It's a good question. So you guys think that this is the snake inning, that this is the No, Kamala sucks. Kamala would get her ass kicked. I don't really. No one likes Kamala. Literally, no one likes Kamala. Um, yeah, but no one likes. I don't know. I don't. I could see Michelle Obama maybe doing it. I can't really see the Invisible Woman, Kamala Harris. I couldn't even remember her name. That was how irrelevant she was doing that. But we'll see. We'll see if it even really matters. I honestly think there's like a non-0% chance that uh what is that? Whoa.
I believe.
What happened to her? She looks like a fucking Dark Souls character. Like
Fast. What I saw that.
Like, can I get a physiognomy check? Like what happened? Like, I don't know. It's you can really see like the mixture of like Indian and black and white and stuff, and looks like some fucking Dark Souls thing. Like, just look how sallow it is. It's just like a fucking lizard person. What am I watching? I'm gonna be honest. This is kind of Kino. This actually is kind of like this. Actually, might haunt my dreams. Like, what? 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 Does look like a Pokemon. Like, I'm just screen capping this because it's fucking amazing. I should make this my avatar on Twitter or something like that. And these are the people like who have access to the nuclear weapons, along with what's his name? What's his name? Who's the Secretary of Defense? The guy who thought like, was it Steve Austin? Yeah, Steve Austin. Was it Steve, or is that the wrestler who like was in the hospital for like 2 weeks and nobody even knew where he was? I don't know. I don't know, dude. Just none of it makes any kind of sense. So I don't know if they're going to throw Biden under the bus or not. Let's see here. What is the deadline? Depends on the state. Okay, that's for a state primary. I mean, can they give the nomination to someone without a primary? Lloyd Austin. Okay. Okay, it's Lloyd Austin. There we go. I'm experiencing some cognitive decline here. I'm getting Lloyd Austin mixed up with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Uh, um, so I don't think um there is a time limit, but they would have to give the nomination to Biden without the primary process, because it's like it's too late in the I don't think people can register for the primaries anymore unless they're going to go with who that random dude is who's running against him. I forget his name. Let me see here. There is that one, Dean Phillips. Was it Dean Phillips' his name? I think. Yeah, Dean Phillips. Okay, my memory's not completely going. Is this Dean Phillips? Like, is this Dean Phillips's like 4D chess plan that he jumped in because he knows that Biden's probably gonna die, and once he dies, then he's going to be able to by default become the next candidate. Oh, Barry Wilkinson withdrew. Okay. Dean for Phillips for that's President Biden Harris campaign. Right, RFK left. I actually don't mind RFK's campaign logo. I don't think it's bad. It does look very much like a 1960s one. Wow, look at how much Kamala's aged in like the last 4 years. It's kind of sad. Remember when they gave it to Hillary, even though Bernie won because did Bernie actually win though? Like, let's look at this. I thought Hillary did actually get more votes though. Like, Hillary won more states, didn't she? I mean, they rigged the process to make it like look worse, like to make it a lot harder for Bernie. But I'm pretty sure Hillary did win more of the vote. Who the fuck is Jim Webb? Who are these people? I like the physiognomy here of these people. I don't like it at all. Let's see, 2024 Democratic primary. So, yeah, that's happening. Maybe this is Dean Phillips' master plan. Now, we do have some good news, though, and I've talked about this, but I think it bears mentioning. It's so amazing that Nikki Haley lost to no one by like 30 points. Like, it made my day. Like, it completely made my day. Nikki Haley lost to none of the above in the because she ran in like a primary that no one cared about. So in Nevada, you can either run in the primary or the caucus. The primary does not award delegates, so Trump didn't care and didn't run in it. The caucus did. Nikki Haley decided to run in the primary against basically nobody, and she lost. She lost massively. None of the above beat her by 30%. None of the above got more than twice as many votes as her, which is like, there might be an RG. Like, this is definitely an RG award. Like, this might be as high though as this is the front runner for biggest L of the year. Losing to none of the above is a new low. I don't know if I've ever seen like someone get felted this hard before. Did Trump get all the delegates? Yeah, Trump got 99% of the vote. So I mean, it's rough, man. It's rough. None of these candidates. Where's Dean Phillips? I guess he just wasn't on this list. Yeah, all these other people lost to none of the above. Life can be kind of tough. Okay, so this was a gay op. This was like a 24-hour gay op. So the plan was that Nikki Haley would be the only person running in the primary, and that no one would bother to show up to vote because it's completely pointless and shitty. And so because of that, she would be able to actually win because there would be no opposition. And that was going to be like, she was going to somehow, like, the narrative was going to be that she won the primary. She's still in this race. She has a victory under her belt, even though it doesn't matter. But she lost to, like, to nobody. No one. Literally, like, she couldn't beat none of the above, which is... Can anyone think of a bigger, like, political feltoning than that? Like, I actually am having trouble coming up with something that's that level of humiliating. Losing to none of the above when you're the only candidate on the ballot. It's just, it's amazing. It couldn't have happened to a nicer person. As I've said, like, I can't vote in American elections for obvious reasons because I'm a Canadian, but if you put a gun to my head and you said you have to pick between Joe Brandon and Nikki Haley, I would honestly probably vote for Joe Biden over Nikki Haley, to be honest. I think Nikki Haley's worse than Joe Biden. Honestly, if I was in America and the election was like Joe Brandon versus Nikki Haley, I probably would just vote for RFK. In that case, it doesn't, like, okay, so KJ, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. There's both. You can only run in one. Only the caucus awards delegates. The primary does not award delegates. So, but yeah. So there's really no reason to run in the primary because you can only run in one. Her hope was that because literally no one cared and no one was going to bother to vote, that she would just cruise through and somehow win, like, the irrelevant contest. But she lost the irrelevant contest that nobody cared about because people fucking hate her that much. Like, just think about that for a minute. Like, losing to none of the above. That is base Nevada stopping Nikki Haley. I mean, it's such a waste of time, though. Like, everybody knows Trump is going to win. Unless, like, I think the strategy is, like, the hope that Trump gets, like, arrested. That's what I personally think it is at this point, is Nikki's hoping that Trump will get arrested, and then she can, like, take the spot and, like, she can just be the next Trump. No, she can be the Republican nominee because Trump's literally in jail and no one else is running. That is my guess as to what, like, Nikki Haley's plan is. And it's a shitty plan. And honestly, if that were to happen, I don't see any real way that she would win the presidency. I just think Trump supporters would not vote for her. Like, I think if Trump got arrested and, like, DeSantis ran or Vivek ran or one of those people did, they would vote for them. But I don't think, like, Trump supporters will vote for Nikki Haley. Like, they just won't. I wouldn't vote for her. I'd vote for Obama over her, to be perfectly honest. Keep in mind, this is the woman who said we need to dox everybody in America. Like, I don't know if anyone remembers this. Every person on social media should be verified by their name. It's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and the Chinese bots. Um, okay, I'm going to denounce and reject what Planville says. He says that what do you mean I can't vote just because I'm not a citizen? I denounce and reject that. That's not true. No one who's not a U.S. citizen has ever voted in a U.S. election. No, not only in a U.S. election, no one who's not a U.S. citizen has voted. Period. No, but like seriously, I would just vote for RFK then. Like that would be the easiest vote. Now, someone came up with like a schizo theory. What if Trump gets kicked off the ballot in a dark blue state? Maybe then RFK would have a chance. Because, like, what would happen if he gets kicked? I don't know. What's a state where RFK was really big? Like, I don't know, Hawaii or California. Like, what if Trump got kicked off the ballot in California? Like, Trump could endorse RFK, and then RFK would get, like, at least some of the Republican votes, and the Democratic ballot would be split. So it's like, it's an interesting theory. I don't think it's going to happen. But I could see, it's an interesting thought that RFK wins a state because they kick Trump off the ballot. So yeah, that was the plan. Everybody is gonna like be doxxed, and then she's like, no, I'm gonna step back on that. Reference her idea is disgusting. She should stop pretending to run. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, Elon Musk got pissed off about it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, and I probably a lot of people are gonna give me shit for this. If she was like, if this was like her saying we're gonna like actively shut down porn sites, then I would say based. Like that would actually be like a form of censorship I could get behind. But like ruining people's lives because they post like Pepe, yeah, well, I'm well aware that I was skipping important parts of the interview. It's just I didn't think it was very good for a live stream. Like it probably was not something I should have streamed. I think it was kind of like a podcast or something. I just don't think there was really by the end of it I just didn't find parts of it like were really useful for the purpose of a live stream. So it was, and once again, my issue was also more so that I just found it very awkward. The Tucker-Putin interaction was just super awkward, and I admit I was just kind of tired. So yeah, if you want to call me out on that and say that you're being hypocritical because you're making fun of people who watch TikTok when you got bored during the like 2 hour long interview, then fair enough. I'm not going to dispute that. I don't think my attention span is that bad though. I just don't think it was really something that like great for a stream. So, or it didn't turn out to be as good as I thought it would as far as a streamable thing. So there we go. I fessed up. I fessed up to it. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't even really know what TikTok is. I've never been on TikTok. I've never watched a TikTok. It's just like when it was first mentioned to me, it just the name alone just made me. I don't know. It just sounds really bad. That's about all I really have to say with regards to TikTok. Should I be going on should I be going on TikTok, guys? Should that be my new thing? Should I get Rain? Rain, do you want to be on TikTok? Rain just scowled at me. That's one of the most like foul expressions I've ever seen. Yeah, so Rain doesn't want to be on TikTok. So are you sure, Rain? I'm sure you'll have lots of fans. I'll give you some kitty treats. Yeah, she does not look amused by that, so she does not look amused at all. She's just staring at me. You ever wonder, whenever I'm streaming, generally speaking, Rain either sits in my lap or she sits on the couch behind me and just watches me. Here we go. She's come over to say hi. Hey, girl. Ah, there's a good kitty. There's a good kitty. Yeah, Rain's a good cat. She's gotten a lot more affection, I find. So I left her here for a week when I went back to Ontario to spend Christmas with my family. But so I think she missed me, but she's a nice cat. I've been meaning to do a video about dogs versus cats, like the final thing. I think it's. I don't really think you can directly compare dogs and cats as pets. It kind of depends on your lifestyle and where you live. I think like a dog is in many ways the ultimate pet. And if you have like a lot of land or a big house or something, it's probably good. If you're not ready for that kind of lifestyle and spending all the time like walking your dog and taking it out to go to to poop and stuff like that, then it's probably not like the pet for you. It's a very big time commitment. It is in many ways the ultimate pet because you can take your dog basically anywhere with you and you can teach them stuff and they can walk alongside you off a leash. But it's a massive commitment. Whereas with like a cat, Rain is very little in terms of time commitment. Like if you have a cat and you take them to the vet once a year, you put out food and water. Generally speaking, they'll be pretty happy. Of course, Rain likes attention, so she'll come up at like she is now and begging to be picked up. Oh, there's a good kitty. But like your cat, I have a 1-bedroom apartment and Rain seems perfectly happy living in here. She's an indoor kitty. I don't know how I'd really let a cat outside if I live in an apartment building anyways. But also cats poop in a box, which is like the greatest thing any pet could do. Like they just go in a box and then you scoop it. You don't have to let them outside. You don't have to do anything. There we go. Rain's purring. As I've often said, if you never have, holding a purring cat is one of like the great simple pleasures of life. There's nothing quite like it. I don't know. What do you think, girl? Rain's just like, shut up and keep rubbing my cheeks. Maybe I'll give you some wet food later. Oh, your cat only goes outside, so she's like a Sigma girl. Okay, there you go, girl. Anyways, so that's the stream. I know it was mostly just a whole bunch of nothing, but I think we had a fun Friday night. God bless everybody. Try to get some sleep. Try to have a good weekend. And I'm sure there'll be lots more insanity